Okay guys, general announcement for my channel. I'm planning to post every other week now instead of every week because with school and everything, it was just getting really hard, and then I felt like guilty about not posting every week because I said that's what I was gonna do, so that's the plan now, every other week. I feel like over the summer I had a ton of video ideas of things that I wanted to do, but now that it's like time to make those videos, I don't actually like them that much. Yeah, and I was losing motivation and stuff, but I got a few messages from some of my adoring fans, you know who you are out there, that were pretty motivating, and we're gonna try to ramp it back up a bit and post videos more consistently again, but every other week. Yeah, thanks guys.
1, 2, 3.
I actually really enjoyed this summer. I feel like I got to spend a lot of time on things that I actually wanted to do. I ended up working this job that I initially didn't want, but it ended up being awesome. My shift started at 1 p.m. I believe, and I was trying to look for a job, a part-time job to work in the mornings so that I could make even more money. So there's a restaurant chain by my house, and for the sake of this video, we'll call it Taco Hell. So, Taco Hell was doing this hiring event thing where if you signed on, you would get $250, and if you worked for however many days, you would get an additional $250. So basically, at the end of the summer, I could get like a free $500 just for working there and still getting the hourly rate that I would be. And I would get free food, and I really like the food there, honestly. So that was the plan. They said that they were like, they're doing all of these like promotional work here things and giving you this free money. So I feel they're kind of desperate. And that location is notorious for being low on workers. So I reached out. I applied and said that I only wanted to work in the mornings. I got an interview, and then when I told her I only wanted to work in the mornings, she said, oh, well, we only have afternoon shifts available. And I was like, well, why did you, I didn't say this, but I'm thinking, why did you interview me then? Because I specifically said in my application I only wanted to work in the mornings. Okay, first interaction. So I say, never mind, okay, I don't want to work here. Thanks for the interview, whatever. She says, okay, well, if you change your mind, feel free to reach out, because we would love to have you if you could work in the afternoons. I was like, okay. Or nights. Nights was what they really wanted me for. I said, okay. So then a little bit later, my job that I loved and was working 5 days a week at reduced our hours to 1 day a week. Basically, this job that I had was hiring so many people because it was like related to coronavirus. So because the need for that went down, they hired a ton of people and didn't need all of us to be working all the time. So we got reduced to 1 day a week working. So I reached back out to Taco Hell, and I was like, hey, you know, I can work nights now because this job isn't really working out the way that I wanted it to. I still worked my 1 day a week, but I could do nights on the other days of the week. And I told them, I don't want to work on the weekends. And she was like, well, we really need you to be able to commit to a weekend. Something like that. Like, she made it sound like it wouldn't really happen much. So I was like, you know, okay. I was like, I mean, I would be available, but I would not want to work very much on the weekends. I said, you know, if it was like one shift every other week or something, like, I would be okay with that. But I was like, I do not want to work every weekend. She said, oh, don't worry about it, okay. I was like, okay. So I said, I'm available on the weekends. And I made my availability very clear. I told her exactly what I could and could not do. During my interview, she gives me my uniform and all this stuff, and she tells me to come in the next day from 3 p.m. to 11 p.m., which is not in my availability that I told her. I told her that I could start working around 6 to like 11. She already, from the first day, wasn't listening to what I was saying. But I was like, oh, it's okay, because she said that I had to come in then because that's when she worked, and so she had to like train me and whatever. And so she asked if, she didn't ask though if we could make that exception, she just said it and like expected it to be okay, even though I had just handed her my availability. So I was like, you know, okay, I can make it work, I just don't want to work then. But yeah, for tomorrow, for her to train me, whatever, I'll come in. So I go in at 3. And first, here, I have screenshots. I have evidence. So we had a group chat. Everybody who works is in it, and so basically, like, if you need someone to cover for you, you can just text and see if anybody wants to pick it up. So in this group chat, this girl, who I don't know her, but this girl says, can anyone cover my shift from 4 to 10 today? And the manager, who did my whole hiring process, responds with, why? The thing is, from the outside, this might not look like that big of a deal. She just says why. First, I've already experienced throughout my 2 interview processes with this woman that she is not very nice, and she definitely has an attitude a lot. But with this, can anyone cover my shift from 4 to 10 today? Why? As long as someone was there, it doesn't matter why. I could be going to a funeral, or I could just decide I'm not in the mood to go to work, and if someone can be there to cover for me, it shouldn't matter why. Like, maybe that's just a personal thing, but that really rubbed me the wrong way, and that was, like, the day before I was supposed to go in, and I, like, read that, and I was like, what? And I was already thinking, I feel like I overcommitted myself because I felt like she kept pressuring me to say I was available to work, and don't worry, we probably won't schedule you, but, like, just say that you're willing to do it. So I already was feeling like, I'll probably want to call off a little bit and ask people to cover for me. So then reading this conversation when she's like kind of insinuating that she shouldn't be asking for someone to cover her, or she has to have a good reason to ask someone to cover for her, I was like, oh no, what have I done? My roommate's going. So basically I just realized I was talking to myself for like 15 minutes, thought I was filming, and wasn't. So let's pick up where I left off from actually filming. Later that day, she sent out another text, and this is the weekend of the 4th of July. I am letting everyone know right now, period. If you call off this weekend, the chances of me putting you back on the schedule are slim, period. Unless you have a doctor excuse, it is not excuse, exclamation point. You are expected to be here when you are scheduled, exclamation point. We all would like to be home for the holidays, but unfortunately, people still come to us to eat, and we are still open. This will be the last time I say this. And I was like, whoa there, woman. Let's chill out a little bit. 1, you sound completely unprofessional with the amount of exclamation points you use, and just your tone is so threatening. This is not the way a manager should speak to their employees. Also, you can't just call off. You have to request time off. So when she's saying, if you call off, I won't put you on the schedule, well, just tell them they can't call off in the first place. Like when someone comes up to you and says, hey, can I have Friday off because I want to go hang out with my friends on the 4th of July, you say no. And then if they still go, then you can say, okay, well, you didn't show up to a shift that you were expected to be at, so you're fired. That's how it works. So don't sound so threatening, like if you dare ask for this time off, I'm not gonna put you back on the schedule. And it's pretty obvious you guys need workers and you guys are understaffed. So I wouldn't really be threatening that many people that you're gonna fire them. I'm working that day. It was really stressful because no one really told me what to do. Also, I forgot about this one. Also, at one point in this shift, I was working the cash register, but nobody had come into the dining area. So I was standing up at the register. It's expected to not be on your phone when you work, so that's on me. But I was on my phone, and she sees me on my phone, even though there's nothing for me to do. I have not been given any jobs since I've been there for 4 hours. She sees me on my phone, and she was like, why is your phone out? And I was like, oh shoot, I'm sorry, and I started putting my phone in my pocket. And she was like, phones have to go in the back room. So now you're like getting on me for not having my phone in the back when you never told me that? How do you expect me to know that? We're having a lot of technical difficulties on this one. That made me so mad. Like, if you don't give me the expectations, don't be mad when I don't meet them. And then at the end of the night, I get thrown on drive-through, which was so stressful, so overwhelming. There's so many cars, so much that I don't know because no one's told me. But I'm like, what the heck? How can you expect me to know what to do? And then I get thrown on drive-through. Oh my gosh, it was just ridiculous. I was really annoyed. So I assumed at the end of my first shift, I also thought she would be there at the end of my first shift to tell me, like, okay, tomorrow come in at this time, or here's your schedule or something. And so she posted the schedule on there, and I checked it, and I wasn't on it yet, which was understandable. I'm not upset about that, but I did my part in reaching out and trying to see if I was scheduled. I didn't enjoy this, so I'm not going to be reaching out to you to see when I can work more. If it was my other job that I really loved, yeah, I'm like, oh, when can I work? Like, can I have more hours? Blah, blah, blah. But for this, heck no, I didn't like it. Why would I do that? I worked my first shift. The very next day, Alyssa, the manager, texts me and says, are you not coming in today? She texted me that at 4, so an hour after apparently she thought I was supposed to be there. And I was like, I see this text and I'm like, was I supposed to be there today? Like, I was not told to come in today. And so I'm trying to think of, like, what to say, and I was like, should I just say that I want to quit? Like, because I kind of do. Or what? So I'm like kind of thinking about what I should say, but before I can really think of something good to respond with, she says, I just need to know if you're going to continue working here, period, or should I take you off the schedule, period. I understand if you found something else, I just need to know what to do, period. And I'm like, okay, don't be threatening again to fire me because I already want to quit. So then I just said, I didn't know I was supposed to come in today. And she said 3 to 11, period, as if that's necessary. And I said, yeah, I knew I was supposed to come in yesterday from 3 to 11, but I didn't know I was also scheduled for today because you never told me. So then, in response to that text, she says, 8 p.m. to 3 a.m. Monday and 8 p.m. to 3 a.m. Tuesday. I thought you took a picture. I gave you Saturday and Sunday off. There's a lot to unpack in that little sentence, in that little text. One, she just tells me my Monday and Tuesday schedule. I never do that. I kind of honestly could have assumed that maybe she wanted me to work 3 to 11 the day after, but really I wouldn't have known. And if I had shown up when she didn't schedule me, I don't even want to know what she would have said or done to me. But she says, I thought you took a picture. So I don't know if you have ever been to Taco Hell, but they have individual seats for like 2 people, like a one-on-one chair, table set up that's really small. And this woman is trying to tell me she thought I took a picture of it. I'm sorry, are you blind and I didn't know it? Because I don't know how you... Ignore the sirens. I don't know how you think I took a picture of it without you noticing. She had the paper that she was writing on the whole time and never gave it to me to look at. I didn't even look at it. I didn't even get to see it with my own eyes, let alone take a picture of it. And I wasn't even on my phone because it was an interview, so I made a point not to have my phone out. So I'm like, you're telling me when you had this paper in front of you that you're writing on, you genuinely thought I took out my phone, pulled the paper from you, and took a picture to know what my schedule was? Yeah, right. Yeah, right. I call BS. But then she says, I gave you Saturday and Sunday off. I gave you those days off. Out of the generosity in my heart, I gave you those days off. Don't say you gave them off. I asked you, I told you I could not work Saturdays and Sundays. I told you I didn't want to work the weekend. So don't act like you're being nice to me by not making me work on the days I already told you I wasn't available to work on. That's not giving me days off. That's just listening to my requests from the first day that we talked about when I was available. Oh, that makes me so mad thinking about it now. It was like 3 months ago, and I'm like, it still just makes me so mad because she's being an idiot and like she's trying to manipulate me, and it's not working now, but she's trying. But anyway, so she says that whole thing like, should I just take you off the schedule? So then I say, honestly, you should probably take me off the schedule. Sorry for all the hassle. Do I need to return the uniform? And she says, yeah, if you could. Okay. But then she says, is it just not something you want to do? Did something happen to make you change your mind? So let's see what happened. I called you on your bluff of firing people, and now you want to know what happened. Like, why do you want to quit? Like, did something happen? You literally asked me, do you just want to quit? And like, say it in a way with so much attitude that you're like basically saying, I want to fire you. And now that I'm like, okay, yeah, fire me. Now you're like, oh, what happened? Like, don't even. Yeah, I called your bluff. That's right. Like, gosh. I was kind of upset. In hindsight, I should have explained myself better and why I wanted to quit. And I should have explained more of, basically, in a nicer way, telling her and explaining to her why she seems like a jerk and why she seems like a horrible boss to work for. So I said, I don't want to have to work 4 to 5 nights a week. I already have another job. I was expecting to work like 2 to 3 nights a week. I felt pressure to say I would work Saturdays, even though that's really inconvenient to my personal schedule. Overall, it's just more of a commitment than I was expecting with everything else I'm dealing with right now. When I asked to work there for the second time, I said I only want to work 2 to 3 days a week. And she, like, pressures me and she's manipulative. I don't even know how she does it. So in response to that text, she says, I never pressured you to commit. You came back and asked. I told you what I was hiring for to begin with. But that's fine, period. I'll take you out of the system. Okay, I never pressured you to commit. Well, that's not true, you did. And then she says, you came back and asked. I told you what I was hiring for to begin with. This is true. When I originally asked to work there, I wanted to work mornings, and you said, we're only hiring for nights. So I said, okay, never mind, I don't want to work for you. But then, when I could work nights, I said, okay, I'll work nights, as long as it's not on the weekends, and it's only 2 to 3 nights a week. And then basically, you told me I could have that, but then ended up changing it and saying that I would probably end up having to work a few weekends and maybe a few times a little more than 3 days of the week, which in reality meant I'm gonna schedule you for 5 days a week every weekend. I was really annoyed with that, and she said, but that's fine, I'll take you out of the system. Whatever, I'm moving on, I'm done with this. So I say, okay, thank you. And freaking Alyssa, being the person she is, has to have the last word and says, no problem. And I was talking to Luke about it, and I was like, I don't even know what to do with this. Like, she has to have the last word. And he was like, take it from her and say, like, okay, great, or something, like, basically just say something else. But I was like, as funny as I would be, like, I'm just done. I'm moving on. But anyway, so we end up working at a time that I can come and give her my uniform back. I try to go up to the front door of the restaurant of Taco Hell, and it's locked. So I go through the drive-thru, and I was like, hey, can I talk to Alyssa, the manager? And she's like, and the girl on the intercom is like, who? And I said, Alyssa, the manager. And she says, oh, okay, yeah, I'll get you a manager. She'll be at the front. She'll meet you at the front. I was like, oh, manager, okay. And I'm like confused, but I'm like, okay. So I go to the front, and this woman who I've never seen before walks out. And she was like, hi, I heard that you need to talk to a manager. Is there something wrong? And I was like, oh, I was just supposed to be meeting with Alyssa today. She asked me to bring in my uniform, so I was just coming to return that. She was like, oh, Alyssa walked out during her shift this morning and quit. Are you kidding me? Freaking Alyssa would. She would do that. She would be the kind of person to quit a job by walking out in the middle of her shift. Like, are you kidding me? She would. She literally has an attitude problem. Like, that's gonna be the downfall of her whole life, I swear. I'm like, whatever, right? This lady is so nice. She seems so nice already, just off the bat. So she's like, I'm so sorry about that. You know, whatever. It turns out I didn't need to return my uniform because they just throw it away. So she was like, you know, I'm sorry that she made you come in for that. You didn't need to. But I had my nephew there, and she was super nice, and she was like, do you guys want to come in? I can give you, like, a drink or free slushies or something. I was like, thank you. So we got some stuff. It ended up being a pretty good time. And then basically she was asking me, like, why I quit and stuff like that. So I told her, like, everything. Well, it turns out, for whatever reason, the, like, regional manager was also there. And he was coming in to do some work at the specific location. And so then this nice new lady was like, would you mind telling him what you just told me? So I'm like, sure, let me tell everybody. So I tell him everything. I think I showed them the screenshots and stuff, and basically explained to both of them, how I don't want to work for someone who's so unprofessional, who's going to threaten to fire me all the time. I don't want to work in a work environment where I'm not allowed to ask off for a shift if someone else is going to cover for me. I felt like she was pressuring me to commit myself to more than I was willing to from the beginning, and I didn't want to continue in that. Okay, earlier when I was trying to film this for the second time, because I ended up not filming when I thought I was, my roommate tried to FaceTime me, so it cut me off just a little bit at the end. So basically I was saying I was overwhelmed because I wasn't really trained on what to do. So that was frustrating. That's really the end of the story there, guys. Thanks for listening. But with the whole quitting after my first shift, I think it's kind of a funny story now and whatever. But at the time, it was really embarrassing, and I was kind of ashamed that I quit after my first day. But you know, sometimes you just gotta do what's right for you, because I was like, oh my gosh, I'm just being a quitter. And like, I don't want to be a quitter. And I don't consider myself to be a quitter. Like, I want to, you know, push through and like make it work, make the best of it, you know, even if it sucks. But like, why, I'm not eating this, but like, why do that when it sucks and I hate it? Like, it would be better to be a quitter and enjoy my summer when I don't need to do this. So yeah, moral of the story. You should comment below if you have any kind of bad work experience like me, and you can share that with me. I would really appreciate it. I would love to hear what you have to say. Comment if you liked my story. If you liked this story time thing of me just kind of talking. It went a little crazier than I expected it to, just because like it kept deleting what I was filming, and that was really frustrating. But comment if you liked this, because I have a few other ideas of just like kind of stories that I could tell, but I don't know if you like that. It's kind of boring. But anyway, so just let me know, like this if you enjoyed this video, if you want to support my channel, and subscribe so you can see what I do next week. People are coming. Hi. Hey, what's up?
What you doing?
Where you been all day?
How?
Oh shoot.